Right, well, I've started on the Wrecker. Frustratingly, I need to build it all up on the original frame and then see what holes are used, how it all fits before I go ahead and purchase the replacement chassis or the blank rails and redrall them myself. So I'm just going through the instructions. This one's fairly easy. As you can see, it tells you on the left what parts bag you need next. So next is parts bag C. So I'll open that up and I'll start building it up. My bearings haven't arrived yet, so I can't finish building the axles or anything like that. They'll be here early in the week. And obviously I haven't got servos or motors or anything like that because I'm upgrading them. So I haven't gone into massive detail on this simply because it doesn't seem RCs are very popular on my channel. They are everywhere else, but not with me. So I'm not going to go into massive detail, but I will show you as I go. So for now, I have done the front axles, but without any of the steering knuckles because I'm only going to have one axle in the end, but I built it all up just to see how it all fits together. I've now got to move on to the rear end, and I'll come back to you once that's done. But as I say, it's fairly simple. You've got this book that shows you all the parts trees. So when you look up a part, you can easily see what they are. All the screws and fittings, hardware are all actual size on the side. The diagrams are very easy to follow, and as I say, the parts number, the parts bag number or letter is there. So you just go through each bag at a time. So as I say, I am currently about to start on the rear axles, but without building the axles because I haven't got the bushings or the bearings. So I'll crack on. Well, I had a few hours on it. Got most of the boom mechanism made. We've got the recovery boom there. The second part of the chassis is ready. As I say, I've bolted it all down to this one because I need to see what's used and where everything goes before I buy the new chassis rails. So another couple of hours today. I'll crack on and I'll come back and show you where I got to. Right, well, that's as far as I've got so far. The winches are on, the back end's all on. The boom is all on the chassis. Obviously, as I keep saying, that chassis rail is temporary. I'm just building up to see what I need. So in the meantime, because I need the Scania cab, I've started stripping my other one down. So I'm now going to try and fit the FH16 cab from the tow truck to this, and then I can use all the Scania bits when I carry on with that. So I will continue. Okay, so there's a bit of a gap since the last video I took, not necessarily the last video I posted, but the last clip I took. I've had probably 8 to 10 weeks gap without touching anything. So today I am going to make a start on this again. As you can see, I've gone and fitted up the T-cab nose. I've got all the chassis pretty much built up, but I have now got my Carson blank chassis rails. I need longer ones for obviously a T-cab wrecker. So plan today is to take the sub-assembly off for the recovery body, just to leave me with the rolling chassis. And then I need to make a note of all the holes that I need, and strip the chassis down and then attach it to the new rails and start drilling it out. Now I want a third drive axle, so I need to mimic this. Oh, turn that off. So I need to mimic this setup here. So I need to make measurements and make holes, etc. But first things first, let's strip this sub-assembly recovery body off. Right then, that's the standard chassis rail stripped down. All the bits tagged and bagged. Obviously all the complete units that have come off together have stayed together. And then just a few bits bagged and labelled. So now I've got to open these chassis rails, attach them to these, and then use the pillar drill to match the holes up. Bearing in mind, I'm only going to do the rear end at the moment because I need to extend it. So I'm going to start at the back and work my way forward. Right, so I've cable tied the old chassis rail to the new one temporarily. I don't know whether it will show up. Yeah, it will. I've just marked what's what, so I know when I'm drilling. And then what I'm going to do, obviously cable tie isn't that strong, so I'm going to drill out the rear cross member ones, these ones, and some further along, probably these ones. Where are we? These ones. That mark means they're not used, as opposed to an X that means cross member. So they're not used, but what I'll probably do is drill them out, and then I can bolt the two chassis rails together, front and back, while I drill all the rest of these. So that's my plan now. Right, so there we go. I've drilled out the rear holes on the back there. So now I've just got to work out what size they are and tap the holes. At least now we can bolt it together again fairly easily, and then we can move on to working out where the fronts have got to go. So anyway, now to do the other side. Right, so I've drilled the extra holes in the old chassis rails, not in the new ones yet, because I need to make sure it all lines up before I start drilling the alley ones. Well, sorry, the new ones. So I've drilled the holes, I've fitted the old double axle back on, but I don't have a another set of axles. So the question is, do I strip down my other one for bits for testing and cannibalise that one? Part of me thinks, should I buy another one for bits? Because I've tried looking for bits and they seem to be totaled up quite expensive, but I can buy another whole kit with all the bits I want and sell off what I don't want. But I don't have that money now and I haven't got it right now, so I think I might have to cannibalise that one for parts just to get this one mocked up, and then either I can rebuild that one with bits from another kit, or when I find them used, or put these back. I think that's the route I'm going to have to go. So I've now got to dismantle that one. Right, well that's this one stripped down. So we've got the middle axle out, we've got the middle axle there with its shocks and trailing arms, we've got the brackets and other trailing arms, the shock mounts, and then over here we have the wheels and the drive shafts. So that's this one done, or done for now. So let's get back on the Wrecker chassis. Right, and there we go. The TriDrive axle is in. They look pretty much bob on, so a big shout out to another guy on YouTube, Scotty555 Babe, I think his channel's called. He recently, just by pure coincidence, did a video on TriDrive. And he'd previously done all the measurements, so I was able to copy the measurements and transfer them over to my bare chassis rails. So as you can see, 68mm between the two mounts. So between that hole there and that hole there is 68mm. Then I had to draw, make the hole for the mount, the other mount. Obviously I didn't have one before I stripped that truck, so I measured the one that was already on there, and put the second hole in for that, which was 37mm from the first. And then from that one that I made across to the shock mount, obviously I've not bolted it up yet, but that goes on there, and that is 61mm. So again, massive thanks to Scott. I was able just to copy that and fit it to mine. So yeah, so we've got little drive shafts in, we're all done. So now my truck's cannibalised and I've got a TriDrive. I've now got to make these holes on the silver frames, and then we can move all this off of this chassis onto the silver frames and then start working out where we're going to mount the front end, because obviously it's longer being a T-cab, and we've lost an axle. We're not having the twin steer one, we're just having a single steer. So we need to fit it all on the silver one, on the silver rails, have a good measure up, start fitting or lining a few bits up, and then we can again bolt these blank rails back on the silver ones, but further along, so then we can start drilling for the front. So that's where we are. I know my tyres are odd, obviously I can't really do much about that. I'll have to get some more matching ones at some point. But anyway, that's progress.